joining shortly. I will call the meeting of the Custer County Board of County Commissioners to order. Let the record show today is May the 5th, 2020. The time is 9 o'clock a.m. I would ask everybody to mute their phones unless it is appropriate for them to speak. Hopefully that will be during public comment unless a commissioner has a question for someone. Madam Clerk to the Board, would you conduct the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Flower?
Present.
Commissioner Kanda?
Here.
Commissioner Prince? Turn off your mute.
Jay's here, sorry.
Attorney Clint Smith?
Present.
And Clerk to the Board, Kelly Camper, present.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Audience introductions. We'll take our time. Just jump in whenever there's a break and introduce yourself if you would, please.
Cindy Flower,
Brian.
Jackie Bubis, Central.
We have Cindy, Brian,
Jackie Bubis, Sentinel.
thank you.
Kara Evans, Admin Assistant. Elliot Jackson, Wet Mountain Tribune.
Anyone else on this morning?
Vernon Roth is, and I just saw Bill Kanda get logged in.
Yeah, got him. Thank
Okay.
you. Anyone else? Do we have anybody else joining the call this morning to introduce themselves?
Bob Tobin.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Any further introductions? If not, we will move on. I don't believe we have any amendments to, or sorry, I was thinking minutes. Are there any amendments to the agenda, gentlemen?
None from Kanda.
Okay. Mr. Prince?
Negative, sir.
Okay, I just want to review, I'll wait, sorry. No, let's do it now. I just want to make sure we're all on the same agenda. The agenda I'm looking at has, I think, 11 or 12 staff reports. Some of those will be written. Some may be teleconference. No unfinished business. And then the new business I have is contractor for landfill, consideration of a letter from the hospital district, consideration of selecting a contract for the Justice Center. Do you gentlemen have that agenda?
That's what I have, sir. So do I.
Mr. Cannon? All right, good. I'm just trying to avoid getting into a little storm like we did the last time when I was on the wrong agenda. So more for my sake than anyone else's. Approval of minutes. I don't believe we have any. Ms. Kelly?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner items. Commissioner Kanda, would you like to begin, sir?
Sure, lots been happening. Lots of people we've been talking with, I've been talking with, and we did have a good executive session on contract negotiations. I thought went well. But there's nothing that I need to bring before the board to discuss right now, other than I did see a request from Kara that I think we're going to address. I don't know if we want to do that, probably in commissioner items. And right now, that's all. I'll turn the floor back.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Prince?
Thanks, sir. Obviously, on the 30th, we'll attended an executive session. That afternoon, I was at the Saddle Club working with the Chamber of Commerce on some issues. Let's see. On Saturday, I had a meeting with the Friends of Beckwith Ranch to try and figure out how we're going to raise enough money to keep the organization afloat. Right now, it's on rocky water, negatively, but it's just not in great shape at the moment. Yesterday, of course, we all attended the special meeting about broadband, and I think that's all I've been up to since last Thursday.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for you, Commissioner Prince, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
More for just my knowledge than anything. I know you are involved to some degree and some extent to the chamber. Do you go to those meetings as a commissioner?
Yes, I go as a commissioner. I tell them up front that I'm here representing part as the contact. However, obviously I don't make decisions for them.
Okay.
Help
Are you on that? Are you a member, or do you just attend? I'm just trying to get. You're not a member of the chamber as a commissioner, correct?
Of course not. No, sir. My
Okay. All right.
member. But since we just recently voted to be members of the chamber, we the county, we have a membership. I felt we ought to have representation.
Okay. All right. That's perfect. Okay. I know you've been very good about attending those meetings, and I just kind of was wanting to get clarification about that. So I appreciate it. Thanks.
So,
Anything else?
This Bill.
No, that's all right.
Go ahead, Bill.
On that point, so Jay, then on our point of contact list, then we can list you as the primary point. Is that good? Is that right? For the chamber, that's for chamber there.
I'm fine with that. I just kind of took that on myself since we joined the chamber a few meetings back, and I felt, if we're members, we ought to at least sit through the meetings and hear what's going on.
Sure, I agree. I just want to make it formal, I guess, because everybody has a list of who the points of contact are here in the county. But I'm adding you to the point of contact list on my side.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, and as you gentlemen have alluded to, I attended the same meetings. I did get on the Zoom conference call with the Custer County Kids Council on May 4th. There was a lengthy discussion about the best way to distribute the $25,000 grant that Stacy Terrell had received on behalf of the Kids Council. So that was a good conference. And then, of course, the broadband meeting yesterday. So, kind of business as usual, just trying to stay on top of stuff. I should finish and install the sneeze guards in the clerk's office today. We're still waiting on the material to finish the countertops themselves. I've ordered the Formica or Wilson Art for that project, and that should be in this week, we hope. So we'd like to get in there and get that project finished up. And then just a quick reminder, policy group meeting this afternoon at 2 o'clock, according to my calendar anyway. And then I wanted to bring up a couple of things. We are scheduled right now for Thursday, May 7th for a training, emergency preparedness training with Christy Coleman at 9 o'clock. I've yet to have Meredith reach out to let me know whether that's going to be live or virtual. I recommended we do that via teleconference, but I haven't heard back from her. So, but right now it looks like Thursday at 9 is the schedule for that. And I believe, Counselor, do we need to get that posted as an official meeting, or can it just be a training workshop, but do we need to post it anyway?
It'll need to be posted as a training workshop.
Okay. And Kelly, do you wanna deal with that, or you want Kara to do that?
No, I can do that.
Okay, all right. So Kelly will post a workshop Thursday, May 7th at 9 a.m. Location to be determined.
Why don't we just make a decision, Tom? I think it ought to be virtual first. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, I kind of thought that would be up to Christy Coleman to make that decision, but we can certainly do that. Let me send Meredith a text real quick, and I'll just ask her if she's talked to her. She had not, as when I talked to her yesterday, so I don't know, but give me just a second, and I'll get that taken care of. Yeah, I think teleconference would be the best play for that, but Jay, do you have a feeling one way or the other?
Yes, sir. I sent there was a question email that went out asking what we preferred, and I wrote back that I thought teleconference would be the best. And Christy didn't have to come all the way down here, and I feel more comfortable doing it on the phone.
That was my answer, too. I think I agree.
Okay, I'm just letting her know that, and we'll try to get an answer. And then I'm with you, Commissioner Kanda. I think it'd be nice if we just make a decision today, then we don't have to worry about to be determined on the location. Vern, we can use this same number.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Okay, if we get a decision from the board today, then we'll move forward with that. And then the other thing, go ahead.
I do have another number. If you want another number, we can assign that.
No, I think we're good with this number. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, 579 a.m. Okay. Let's see. I got a response. Meredith said yes. Looks like it's okay. Darn it. She's figured out which system would be better, and then she'll send me the login information. So apparently Christy's going to host that, Vern.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. We will. So let's make that a formal then. That the workshop training on Thursday, May 7th at 9 a.m. will be a teleconference or virtual at least. Could be a Zoom. I don't know. We're good with that, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Okay, good. And then, yeah, it's not on the agenda. Commissioner Kanda touched on it, and I think unless council feels differently, I think it's appropriate that we have a discussion about Kara's schedule during our commissioner items here. We've received a request to change her schedule up a little bit. Gentlemen, I know you've gotten a copy of that as well. Clint, did you get a copy?
I didn't get a copy, but she touched base with me on it, so it's fine
Okay.
to do it in commissioner items.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That's where I was headed. Let me pull up my board packet here.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question while you're doing that?
You sure can. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Did we get call-in information for the 2 o'clock meeting this afternoon?
I don't think.
We don't. I don't think we have one. I was going to text Meredith and ask to put a meeting announcement out to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may just be premature.
If you want to do that, Bill, while we're in the meeting this morning, then we can share that. If you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll do that. Fine.
Okay, right. Yeah. So we get this request from Miss Kara, our administrative assistant, to change up her schedule a little bit. The hours would remain the same. She just requested to work Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. At home. and that would just be from now until mid-August. So I certainly don't have a problem with that. I think she's functioned fairly well working from home, as we all have tried to do. So I would open the floor up for some discussion about that.
This is Jay. I'll just give my comment. I fundamentally have absolutely no problem with this at all. I'm just concerned about setting a precedent for other county employees who come in and say, you know, I want to do something similar for maybe not 2 hours, but the whole day or 6 hours. I don't know if this is something that you want to set a precedent for, but I'm certainly agreeable with this. I'm just concerned about how this may appear for all of our county employees. Is it giving a green light for them to make that same request?
Okay, that's a good point. I think roughly, I don't know this for a fact, but roughly a third of our county employees are already on an alternate schedule, road and bridge being the majority of those. So they work 4/10s, and that's really kind of been driven, from my experience, from the road and bridge supervisor, but I'm sure the commissioners, it ends up on our desk for approval of that. But I'm not overly concerned about precedents. I think it's back to almost a case-by-case situation, especially during this COVID thing and with school being out. And so I certainly would support that. Commissioner Kanda, your thoughts?
Yeah, same. I don't think we'll set a precedent. It's just a matter how you state it. This is an emergency time, and people are dealing with, like you mentioned, kids at home, lots of work happening all around us. And I don't see a problem with it in the short term. We need to look at it with everybody in the next, during each meeting. If there's a reason to change our policy on that, then we ought to state it. But I'm good with it.
Okay. Commissioner Prince, would you support this, or are you concerned enough to want to do something different?
No, I absolutely support this. I was just voicing concern.
Okay. All right. So just as an administrative item here, I think Ms. Kara, the commissioners will go along with your work schedule being changed from what it has been up to this point to 8 to noon in the office, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4, to work at home with, of course, your hour lunch. So is that satisfactory to you, Kara?
Yes, that would absolutely be a ton of help for us. So I really appreciate that from y'all.
No problem. We'll start that today.
Okay. Thank you very, very much.
Yep. Gentlemen, by consent, we're all good there?
I'm good.
Good.
Roger that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. That's all I have under commissioner items. So I don't have anything to report for Upper Ark Water. Anyone else? Bill?
No new news.
Okay. Attorney items?
I attended the executive session yesterday afternoon. Something I realized, and it was too late to do anything about it, we were supposed to do the first reading of the proposed model traffic code ordinance today, but it didn't get on the agenda in time. So I've talked to Kelly about it, and we're going to, for those, if anybody has actually called in expecting to hear that today, it's going to be done on May 20th for the first reading.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great point. That fell through the cracks for me as well. I'm sorry.
And the only other thing is I'd already made some plans to take off on my motorcycle for the next 3 days, so I won't be participating in the workshop on Thursday, but I am going to be practicing safe distancing since I'll be riding through Utah all by myself. hours. I won't have any contact with anybody the whole time, so I'll be okay.
Wow. So you're going to camp out?
No, I just said that. I got a reservation at a motel, but
Cool.
sounded more romantic camping, huh?
It did. It sounded a little Western, that's for sure.
Well, I used to.
Yeah, you might be practicing 6 or 60-mile social distancing out in that country.
There are times when you can go for a half hour or more and never meet another car.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that update. Yeah, Jim, I guess I have a question that's kind of been nagging at me a little, and I'll just throw it out there. We don't have to make a big deal about it. But in hindsight, I guess I just have a question of whether yesterday needed to be an executive session or not. Now, that's easy to ask now because we didn't know going into it. I thought we were going to get down in the weeds on company names and contractors and that kind of thing, which certainly would have been appropriate. But when we're all done, I thought, did we really need an executive session for that? That was my question. So not a big deal, just throwing it out there.
I had the same thoughts. There was no contract negotiation, so I felt that the executive session was probably unnecessary. This is my feeling, but I didn't vote for it either. Didn't feel it was significant enough about.
Right. Well, then I felt too, and certainly I'd love to hear Bill's take on this, that we didn't know that going into the deal. So it's easy to look at it afterwards and go, don't know if we needed that or not. But I didn't have a problem with it. I had the same feeling, Jay. Commissioner Kenda, thoughts?
Yeah, I initially felt that way. So there was some discussion on strategies that I guess from a phone company point of view might have been an issue, but I'm not sure,
Yeah. Well, I don't think any harm, any foul. Do you, Counselor?
No, I had the same thoughts after I heard what was being presented, and frankly, I would suggest, this is totally up to you, but you may want to decide that you could go ahead and release the recording of that executive session if you wish to, because there wasn't anything that was of the nature that was so sensitive it would have, tipped off somebody or given unfair advantage to somebody. But like you said, we didn't really know exactly what was going to be presented when we went in.
Right. Yeah. And just a quick comment, I thought Carmel did a good job. I thought he was well prepared and very succinct. We were in there for an hour and 5 minutes, which probably half of that time he fielded questions from the group. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was glad that it went the way it did. So, and Commissioner Ken, I want to thank you for setting that all up and getting that put in place for us. So.
Yeah, I felt the same way, and he did. We all pounded on him pretty hard to focus. I'm glad he did.
Good. Okay, we'll move on. Anything else, Counselor?
No, that's all I had.
Okay. I'm just, with bated breath, I'm waiting to ask if the administrative assistant has anything this morning.
I am good. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Public comment. If you have anything you'd like to bring up that's not on the agenda, you're welcome to do so. Hearing none, we'll move on. Staff reports. Mr. Bryan, landfill, how are you? Good. Good. Do you have anything to report today?
No, everything's good.
Okay, everything's good. You're at the helm all by yourself.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Well, good. I'm excited about that whole project moving forward, and we have every confidence that you'll do a great job out there. We're excited for you. I hope you and your family are pleased with your move up here. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, so welcome aboard officially.
It's so happy to be back up here and, thankful for the opportunity to be out here. So everything's good.
Good. Excellent. And the phone number, that cell phone was for the landfill manager, so that number, gentlemen, if you want to call that, will go straight to Brian's cell phone.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, all right, sir. Well, thank you. Thanks for being on this morning, too. We appreciate that. If you have any questions or anything, just give any of us a holler. We're here to help if we can.
Great. You want me to hang out for the selecting the contractor for the landfill?
Yeah, it may be a little bit. Maybe Kara can reach out to you and ask you to call back in if you want. It's
okay.
up to you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to you later. Kara, you okay with that?
Yes. Is his number the same as Rusty's? Just
yes,
so I know.
that was the same number. Yep. It just it stayed with the phone. So now
Okay,
Brian's
perfect.
got that instead of Rusty. Yeah.
Okay, I will give him a call. Thank you.
You
Okay,
bet. Thanks. Okay, Brian. See ya.
Right.
Road and Bridge, gentlemen, Gary reached out to us via an email and gave us his report. They're on a project this morning. He just didn't feel like he could leave that project. They're back on the mag chloride project. So, did you have any questions or comments about his report?
This Bill, he did a good job of summarizing everything. Big point was we didn't have enough weather to keep it wet enough, and the roads needed help now, and getting right on it like he, and I'm sure the people of the county are going to appreciate that. I've been getting several calls, quite a few calls actually, on it, and have talked to him several times about it, as I know you both have. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. Well, thankfully, I have not had one phone call about the roads, so that's encouraging for me. All right. Human Services. We've got her report as well. I've looked through that. Any questions, gentlemen, or comments? I don't think she's on the line this morning, so.
Yeah, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Things look fairly normal. Numbers look a little bit down, probably because of everybody staying at home. But overall, I thought the report was just fine.
Yeah, I see their Medicaid transport numbers are down a little bit, but to be expected. So, and they've had some activity at their food distribution center right there behind the courthouse, but that wasn't all her office. That was a different organization that gave out, I think, over 50 boxes of food last week in about an hour and 15 minutes. So that wouldn't show up here because that was a different group just using that facility and the location because it's pretty handy. So I know Laura was on the phone call yesterday with the Kids Council as well and had some comments about how to move forward with the distribution of that food assistance money as well. So VSO, same thing. He's provided us some written reports. We will need a motion on this.
If you want any clarification, Tom, I'm here.
Oh, okay, good, John. Thank you. I didn't know you were on. I'm just pulling up your docs right now, so give me just a second. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Good. Well, the floor is yours then. You just go ahead and take us through those. I didn't know you were on.
It's pretty simple. Obviously, the office being closed to clients, so I had 0 office visits, lots and lots of phone calls, did about 15 home visits. The big thing for us was the volunteer part. We put out 47 boxes of food for April, and that equals out to, based on the sign-up sheets, that's 122 people that we fed out of my office. Wow. And that's not just veterans.
Amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Good.
so we can still
Yeah, you
continue to
certainly-
do that.
Certainly have been busy over there. I chuckled a little bit. John, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but oh
No,
my
you're
gosh, 132 phone calls, dude. You must have a cauliflower ear, I'll tell you. And that just goes to show you how critical your office is, obviously, and how much response you're getting from the community. So that's amazing.
Well, even if I'm not critical, I try to make sure I pretend I am. So.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's called job security, right? We all want to be critical.
But that's all I have, gentlemen.
Okay, all right, good. I would
I'm agree accepted. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bill. That's fine. Go ahead.
I move accept the VSO's report.
And I'll second that. Thank you, Jay. Been moved and seconded to approve the VSO report for March 2020. Further discussion? I would just ask you. Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
I apologize for interrupting, but I believe it's April 2020, not March.
It is April, yes, and I thought I just saw a March date on it somewhere. Let me go back and look. Yeah, sorry. Let me look at the signature page. Yeah, it does say March.
It says April on the front.
20. Yeah.
The ones that I
On the
sent.
certification page, John has March 2020.
Okay, I'll resend it.
I got May on mine.
Well, that's on the certification page.
Yeah. May 4, he's got.
No, the very last page, Commissioner Canada, the signature page.
I'm looking at it, and it says May 4 on mine.
Oh, yeah, up on top. I got it. I missed it.
Yeah, he missed it on the top. He signed it on the 4th.
Yeah.
I'll just change that if that's all right with you.
That's fine.
So that should read April, correct?
Yes, sir.
For the month of April 2020 from Custer County. That's correct there?
Yes, sir.
And then the signature line is right, is dated May 4, yeah. So,
Good eye.
and if this motion approves, then I can just electronically sign this and send it right back to you, John. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, proceed to vote. Go ahead. Oh, okay. All in favor of approving the April 2020 VSO report, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Prince? Commissioner Kendall?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Motion carries. Let me do that right now so we don't get off track here. Give me just a second, gentlemen. My computer's wanting to be a little specific for me this morning. It wants everything in a certain manner. I'll talk to Vern about that. Okay. Okay, so we will move on. I'll send that to you in just a second, John. Thanks for being on this morning, too. Appreciate that.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
You bet. I'll email that to you right now.
All right, thank you.
Airport. Is anybody on from the airport? Okay.
I heard the echo in there. I know they are aware of it. Maybe on the...
Aware of the meeting?
Yeah, I made sure they knew that we were going to do it today. So we'll see. I'll send a note to Lynn.
Okay. And I'm working on sending that signed report back to John real quick. Okay. Okay, well, we'll move on, and if he comes back on, if Lynn can get on, that's fine. If not, no, it's not the end of the world. They've had a lot of activity out there. I don't know that they've sold a lot of fuel, that kind of thing, but OEM.
Give you a quick update is they have sold quite a little more fuel, and big news is they got underway with the contract on the AWAS. Don't know what the timing is on it yet. They haven't told me, so they were going to bring us up to speed today. I'll get a hold of them and see if there's anything new.
Thank you. Office of Emergency Management. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
I apologize, but before we go off this, I was just curious if we have or we're anywhere near a resolution on the driveway that the large fire truck broke. Notice on that?
They're still working with the fire department on that. They were going to let us know where they are on that too.
Thank you.
And to that end, they did replace the door on the fixed base operator building that the fire truck had damaged, so that's been replaced with a new door.
Yep. Good.
Okay, if Lynn calls in or something, we can go back and if he has anything else to add, that's fine. Bill, if he doesn't have anything else to add, I don't think it's necessary for him to call in then. Do you, Jay?
No, sir. I just assume fuel sales are nil, close to it.
Yeah.
They're low.
I know there's definitely been some activity out there on the new taxiways. They poured the concrete on the T-hangars, and I believe construction continues on the hangar on the west side of the FBO. So things are going good out there. I think they're very excited.
They are, and one good news thing, price of fuel was so low, they got a full tank load at a very low price, so it's a pretty good margin of profit on it for this next load when we get planes coming again.
Good job.
Okay, we'll move on. Office of Emergency Management, we have Meredith's timesheets included in the board packet. Let's look at a report first, gentlemen, if you don't mind. Just a one-pager. Of course, we're probably fairly aware of what all has been going on, mostly through the policy group meetings, but I know she mentioned the horse ranch fire. It's been 100% contained. The last acreage figure that I saw was 43. Forest Service done a good job keeping us posted on that, so that was a blessing. That could have went the other direction real quick, so I'm glad they got that thing under control. So
I'd like to thank the Forest Service. We were getting notifications a couple of times a day as to that, and I think the young lady did a wonderful job doing that.
Good. I guess I would take this off. Sorry, Bill.
That's okay.
Just going to say I'd take this opportunity again to plug for Everbridge, people to sign up for that. I think it's working pretty well. I've gotten a lot of fire danger weather report notifications. So I think we're hitting on all cylinders. We just would like to get a majority of the citizens in our county to sign up for Everbridge. So if they've not done that, there's this place on our website that they go to. Can I divert just a quick second, gentlemen? I wanted to ask Vernon a question. Vernon, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I sent you an email about the new URL for the county website. I was on it yesterday. It looks amazing, by the way. Do you anticipate a date when we pull the trigger on switching over, or are we going to leave the old website up for a while?
Well, I wanted to have that discussion. Right now, we can really do that any time. We're updating both of the websites simultaneously, or trying to as much as we can. The issue being is that some the new website is really graphics heavy, and so it doesn't work great on a slower internet connection.
Okay.
So
Well, we can have that extended conversation during your IT report. It just made me think of it about people going to that new website for Everbridge, or should they go to the old one?
Well, we have notifications on both of them.
Okay.
Teach a person how to sign up.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it some more during the report. Sorry, I kind of derailed us there. Okay.
I think
all
I'm
right.
actually
Very
back.
good. Yeah, I wanted to go back though to OEM and deal with her timesheet, gentlemen.
Hey,
Tom, had an opportunity to look at that. I'm sorry. Say again.
I'm on the call now.
Oh, okay. All right. Great, Meredith. Thank you. I didn't hear anybody buzz in. So, how are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
I'm good. Good. Thank you. Yeah. So we had just looked at your report. Was moving on to your timesheet. We could certainly, if you have comments on either one, that'd be appropriate.
Not that I know of. I just know that going forward, we're still, working on the response, but moving into a recovery and a planning phase for the next few hazards and how we're going to plan and respond within the context of COVID-19 being added in. So just trying to be as proactive as possible before fire and flood season. And then the timesheet, just as normal, just as for my EMPG grant. So, and also my time that it's spent on COVID-19 is going to be reimbursable, so that's good. There was talk that it wasn't going to be, but now it is. So.
Okay. And is that time that's going to be reimbursable? Is that above and beyond your regular hours, or including your regular hours?
Yeah, since I don't get overtime or comp time, it's just the regular, as in always how it's been reimbursable for AMPG grants. So nothing changes within that.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. I would move that we approve. Oh, go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It could have done either after or before. Meredith, just a question. I noticed that you're putting down in excess, this is on your time report, of course, in excess of 40 hours, you're calling it regular and you're leaving OT 0. Why is that? Why would you not put 40 hours regular, for example, the week of February 3rd through the 7th? Why would you not put regular 40 and OT 4? Just curious.
Because I don't get overtime.
She's an exempt employee, Jay, so she doesn't get overtime.
Well, I fully understand that, but I would think that anytime you work in excess of 40, probably track the amount of hours you put in so that, we know that you're working well in excess of, it's not a big deal. I was just thinking for reimbursement purposes.
Well, so within that scope of reimbursement, thank you for bringing that up because it's kind of within my job description, my staff report. So a disaster policy, since within that disaster policy that we have currently, there's no mention of reimbursement for overtime or comp time, since as an exempt employee I don't get that. And so we can talk about it at a later date, but since within that disaster policy and within my job description, it's not something I get, and so I want to be able to have it as a reimbursement. Since within it kind of goes into that FEMA public assistance reimbursement within that scope, but since it's not laid out beforehand before a disaster, we can't put it in place. So that since we do get PA reimbursement, it's FEMA wouldn't reimburse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand now. That's fine. I was just nitpicking, but that's fine. No problem at all.
Okay.
So I would move we approve the timesheet for the OEM manager for April.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the timesheet. 177 hours. Discussion.
again, sir. This is for the month of February.
Sorry. Yes. Did I say April?
You did. I don't mean to correct you.
No, I appreciate it.
It should be for April. Did I send the wrong document?
It does say the pay period for February, 177 hours.
Oh, it should be the month of April.
Okay. And the hours are correct. Just the date was the month was wrong.
Let me double check on that because.
Okay, take your time.
All the entries are for February, so I don't know.
Yeah, they are. You're exactly right.
Yeah, then somehow the wrong document was sent to you guys. Either I sent the wrong one,
Okay. You want to forward us the correct one?
Yeah.
Do you have a number of hours for the correct one?
I do. 243.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. So I would withdraw my motion to approve. Second withdrawn.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll send it to you guys.
Withdrawn. I would move to approve the timesheet of 200 and what was the number again? I'm sorry.
It's 243 hours.
Wow. Okay, so I would move we approve the timesheet for Meredith of 243 hours.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the OEM Office of Emergency Manager's timesheet of 243 hours for the month of April. Further discussion? If you'll send that to me, Meredith, if this motion passes, then I will sign it and send it back to you.
Okay, I'll send it right now. Sorry about that.
Thank you. That's okay. No problem. I'm glad we caught that. Perfect. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Kenda?
Aye.
And Commissioner Flower votes aye. Motion carries. That timesheet has been approved, and we will get that signed and sent back to her for her grant reporting. Anything else, Meredith?
I think that's it. Bill, I did get your text, so I'll send out an email with that reminder for the policy group meeting at 2. So.
Perfect, thanks.
No.
All right, thanks, guys.
They need to mute.
Nobody did. Are we still there?
I'm still here, Jay.
Hello? Oh, okay.
I don't know where everybody else is. They all may have bailed.
For the record, it wasn't me.
Hello,
Bob,
is
are
anyone
you
still
on?
here? Oh.
I'm here, Vern. This is Jay.
Candace here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did we lose that call, or was it me?
I don't know. Did you dial back in?
I did not. I was getting ready to. My whole thing went blank. So, did you guys lose it, or were you still on?
No, we stayed on, and it echoed a lot.
Okay.
Beep,
Well, it must have been on my end, so I apologize for that. So I think we were finishing up with the OEM report. Last I heard, Meredith said she didn't believe she had anything else. So with that, we'll move on. IT report. Vernon, you can ignore my last text message then. I thought the whole system went down.
Oh, no. There was some feedback that was just bouncing around through all the phones. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yep.
must have been on my end. So go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot to report that hasn't already been discussed. The new website is up and going. It's been the last couple of months have been an interesting challenge getting everybody set up to operate a little bit differently, but getting all the conference calling and whatnot set up the state courts and the detentions, the Sheriff's Office Detention Center to do WebEx meetings, and so that's working out well. So we don't have to do as many prisoner transports, which is really nice because they can now do a WebEx conference through the state and do remote conferencing. So that's pretty good. But other than that, I don't have a huge amount to report that hasn't been, really discussed already.
Okay. Could you give us the URL for the new website for the record?
So the new website.
Can I say something about that before you give that out to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Go ahead.
So my staff started giving out the URL that was on the new website, which is not the right URL because we don't have it yet. And so I have been suggesting to them to not give out that URL yet because it's kind of confusing, because when we do get the new one, it's going to be different than what it is on now. Right, Vernon?
So
Yes. Allow me to illuminate that a little bit. So right now we're still using a .com URL for the new website. As soon as the feds assign us the .gov website, we will have a new website URL listing, but we will just go ahead and forward everything from the existing URL, both of them actually, to the .gov website. So even if someone types in the old website, they'll jump to the new one. So we can circumvent that. I know that it's a little bit confusing because we don't actually have the .gov yet, but we have a workaround.
So what would be your suggestion, Vernon? Shall we wait? Do you feel comfortable with putting that out and people start bouncing back and forth from one to the other? Or?
Well, it has been up for some time. There's a link on the old Custer County webpage. It's on the alerts notice at the very top of the webpage. So it has been online for quite some time. But I can do whatever you guys suggest in this regard.
Yeah, I understand that it's been up and available. To Kelly's point, do you feel comfortable with promoting that now, moving forward, or do you want to wait until we actually get the permanent URL for that? So I guess that's the question. Is that right, Kara or Kelly?
Yeah. I'm just not, for my office, we're just not going to give out. We're still just giving them the CusterCountyGov.com and until that new one comes out, because it was just confusing people. They were saying, well, if that's not the new one, then, but it works with the new page, then what is it? And so it was just confusing to people. So I realized that once we start the new one, it will, whichever one they type in, it will link to that. But before I start giving it out, I'm just going to wait until the .gov is up, or till we have the .gov.
Okay, I understand. I will follow up. I'll see if I can get a hold of the federal office and see what the delay is.
Right. Okay. And eventually it'll be a .com, right?
It'll be a .gov. It'll be
.gov. Okay.
It'll be
Sorry.
Custer County.
Sorry, it's .com now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's .com right now. It'll be custercounty-co.gov.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that backwards. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, Kelly. Good. Are you good with that?
Yep.
Okay. Meredith, are you still on?
This is Alex. Give me 1 second. Meredith's right in the next room.
Okay. All right. Vern, are you?
Yes, sir. I'm still.
Well, okay. I was looking at my email and I see that Meredith sent a note. She was asking, do we want to invite other people? I know I'm derailing your IT report a little, Vernon, but I didn't want to forget this because we need an answer today. Gentlemen, do you want to leave this just as the commissioners, or obviously it's a workshop, it's open to anybody? Meredith is wanting to know if she should invite some other major players to be part of that training.
A workshop, I'm good with it. Whoever she thinks is important.
I would agree.
This is Meredith. What I was thinking was the policy group, so the mayors, and then really just like the elected officials that would be involved. So
okay, all right.
3 mayors.
Sheriff ought to be there.
So you will let Christy know that, correct? So she knows what audience she's speaking to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, you okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm okay, but I have a question. I would assume that since it's a workshop, that it'll be open to the public to listen in if they choose.
That's correct. The number will be posted on the agenda.
Excellent.
So, it's going to be a different type of setup. It won't be a teleconference. It's going to be like an Adobe Connect and that kind of thing. So, and it's a training within, it's called 402. It's the elected officials basically like guide to emergency or to disasters, I think is what it's called, or something like that.
And there will be a slide deck with that, Meredith?
Yeah, so within that, I believe it's going to be Adobe Connect or something like that, where she'd be able to talk over each slide and then be able to communicate that way with everyone.
And we'll have to download the software probably to run that, so we're going to need that information ahead of time. Huh?
Yeah, she's going to finalize it today and then send it to me, and I'll get it to you guys.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Vernon, I apologize. I'm just trying to stay on top of things here so it doesn't get away from me. Anything else, Vernon, for the group?
No, sir. No, sir. But if I am, if that's going to be a workshop, is that going to be if it's going to be a proprietary software, should that be put out there on the web as well, or not?
Well, I would guess we'll have to post the platform on the agenda so people can access that once we get that from Christy Coleman.
Okay, understood.
All right, sir. Thank you.
That,
appreciate your
Thank
report.
you, sir.
Cool. Yeah. Questions for Vern, gentlemen?
Yeah, just real quick. I think yesterday we asked Alex to work with Carmel Group to work a request to get a test, broadband test, out to the public, and you just need to talk to him, and then we got to figure out. Alex suggested putting it on the website. Vernon.
Okay.
Has talked to you yet?
Not yet, no. But we'll touch base after this call.
All right.
Anything else for Vernon, gentlemen?
No, sir. Appreciate the job he's done.
All right.
Thank you,
sir. You bet. Thanks, Vernon. Okay, we'll move on. Extension. Is Guinevere on this morning?
I'm here.
Well, by golly, good morning.
Hello, how are you guys?
I'm good. I was afraid you might have drug up and moved out of the county.
I know, I've been holed up in my house. PSU's kept me here till May 15th, and then I can be back in the courthouse and a little more active.
Good, okay.
Yeah. So that
All
my report just goes along with stuff I've been working on. So we've been out of face-to-face activities for all of extension programming through the 15th of May. So we've been developing a lot of ways to connect to especially 4-H via the internet, videos, all kinds of stuff. And then moving forward, it's just me working with public health and CSU, trying to follow all the guidelines for when our kids get together, when extension program gets together. How do we make sure that we're following all those phases and those guidelines? So it's been interesting, to say the least, trying to make sure we're following the right rules where and when. And then just kind of interacting with the fair board has been, how are we going to deal with fair? That's been kind of an interesting conversation. I know at the state level, I attended a meeting talking to all the fair people, what their plans are. So I've just been communicating that to the fair board and, trying to parse out what role I play in the fair, how 4-H members will be expected to compete or not compete, all that stuff. And then trying to continue programming some of the things that I've been thinking about. And I contacted Charles about doing online videos for weed identification and control, working with Stacy Terrell to do some cooking matters, budgeting, that kind of programming, and then with some other extension professionals working on some wildfire education and mitigation videos and programming. That's kind of what I've been up to. So.
Okay, good. Wow, excellent. Yeah, I have every confidence that the right decision is going to be made about the fair, whatever that is. I think everybody's trying to take every piece of information into account when they make that decision. So thank you for your involvement in that.
Yeah.
I've got just a thought I want to throw out. I think this COVID-19 has probably, whether we like it or not, brought to the surface the need for us as responsible citizens to try to have a nest egg built up in the event that for some reason we're unable to work. And this is obviously one of those times when some people couldn't work. Wonder about an extra emphasis on some programming for budgeting, for saving, maybe try to preach the message of, hey, we need to be saving X percent of our income or whatever for these kinds of activities, and maybe people would be a little more open to try to implement some kind of a savings plan. I don't know. I mean, we've all grown up with hey, you need to save at least 3 months of your living expenses, whatever. I just think now would be a good time to preach that message.
Yeah, that is part of what I hope to develop. I know that we have some extension colleagues in Idaho who have put out some stuff, so I was going to review that. But I just want to make sure, that our programming is relevant and also backed by measurable results. That's kind of the task of extension. But yeah, I think that's really pertinent, and I think would be helpful in kind of this recovery mode that we're in.
Right.
Speaking of budget, I think that somebody at CSU has reached out to you guys to talk to you, but if not, CSU is very interested in where we're at for 2020 budget and 2021. That could be an offline conversation or a further conversation. I did just convey to them that we are, we got our 2020 budget approved, and I hadn't heard anything from you all about cuts or anything. But if there's talk of that, we certainly, I need to run that up my chain at CSU. So, if you think about that or whatever, that's something that they would like to know.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. So far, my recollection is we haven't cut your position yet.
Oh, thank you.
I was hoping there'd be a chuckle somewhere along the line there. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've had a conversation with my daughter. In her school, they've already cut 2 teaching positions directly related to the budget cuts. I think really, I mean, nobody's saying, but I think it is in response to this COVID-19 outbreak. So, yeah, I have not received anything that I'm aware of yet from CSU about that.
Okay.
I have not
and just
received.
On their end. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, if and when it's appropriate, we'll have that discussion. You would be part of it. That's for sure. I wanted to ask you about your administrative assistant. Is she planning on coming back on the 15th?
She's upstairs right now. So she's been in. Yeah, and she's been coordinating a lot of the appointment setting, and I've been trying to give her as much work as possible. So she is turning in timesheets, things like that. So, yeah.
All right, very good. Anything else, gentlemen? Questions, comments? Thank you very much, Guinevere. We appreciate you being on this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job, that's for sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Yep, you bet. All right, we'll move on. Planning and... Pardon me?
Hey, I'm on the line.
Oops. Okay, hold on, Jackie. I can't discern whether Guinevere was saying goodbye or she had another thought.
She said, have a good day.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, well, good morning, Miss Jackie. How are you?
Good morning. I had a subject that I was going to talk about, but I'm going to skip it. But the only thing I had to say is I have 3 SUPs, and we're going to try to do them June 1st. I'm trying to coordinate it because you can only have 10 people at a meeting. So I'm going to, but we can do 5 people on a board. So with the COVID thing, I'm just going to limit my board members to 5, have the applicant come in, and then they're going to have to go outside and the other applicant come in.
Okay, I think under the governor's orders you can have 9 or fewer.
I thought it was 10.
No, it's less than 10.
Oh, that's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Is it less?
That's why we were constricted to 9 in our executive session.
No, it said 10 or less.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you.
That's
fine.
I think that's what we'll look at it though. Before that, that's down the road. That's not until June 1st.
June 1 is your date right now.
Yeah, but I can't have any extras. Is what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know what that means.
Extra
people.
people.
Any extra people? Oh, okay.
No, so we'll do the rest by teleconference.
Okay.
Because I'm sure there's some. Oh, it said 10 people or fewer. CDPHE recommends that without approximately responding to the illness, including canceling and postponing public events, restricting social gatherings to 10 people or fewer.
Okay.
Okay, so just giving you a heads up about that because we'll have 3 of those. And then also in 2019 we did 20 septic permits. We're up to 26, and dwellings we had 19, and we're up to 29.
You're talking about May of 2019 and 2020, right?
No, year to date.
I'm sorry.
Year to date.
Oh, year to date. Okay. All right.
This month alone, we've issued 15 new dwellings.
Okay.
And that was for the month of April. 15 more dwellings than usual. So we
15
are
more or 15 total. I'm confused.
15 total for the. But we're up. We're up about 9 so far for the year.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm just telling you that, and then the Planning Commission after their June 1st will have a workshop to work on the zoning regs. That's it.
Okay, how's your office working out, okay?
Yeah, we hadn't missed a beat.
Starting yesterday, we were open to the public by appointment. Did you have any?
No, we go out on the outside.
Okay. Because you could allow them to come in your office if you wanted to.
No.
Time by appointment.
Yeah, no, a lot of them don't need in.
Okay.
They come. We're fortunate because we have a window.
Yeah.
To the outside. So we have drop boxes from the beginning of this outside. So, yeah. So we had continued it. So we're good. Okay.
Miss Jackie.
Jackie.
I have
yes.
a comment. This is Jay. I just wish you would pass on to Pat Bailey and his family our deepest condolences.
I sure will, and he knows it.
Thank you.
And I will keep you posted if he needs anything that as a group we can do or individually.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. I appreciate you letting us know, too. That was nice of you. Thank you.
Jackie, this is Jackie. Can you tell me those septic numbers again real quick?
Septics, last year at this time were 9. This year are 17.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, any other questions for Miss Jackie?
Not for me, but good job, Jackie. Thanks for keeping things moving.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Human Resource Finance, Miss Donna, are you on?
She is not on the phone. This is Kara. She's on the phone with auditors right now.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to interrupt that. Okay. All right, that's fine. We did get the handwrittens. I would assume that would have been the major portion of her report this morning. I would move that we approve the handwritten checks in the amount of $14,196.13.
I'll second it.
The moved and seconded to approve the handwritten checks. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Motion carries. I will let her know that. Anything else, gentlemen, that we want to pass on as a question to Miss Donna, or are we okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. I just inform you, gentlemen, that I had a conversation with her yesterday about how we're going to handle the $25,000 disbursement of the food needs grant, and we agreed that we could do that by voucher with handwritten checks as needed. Some of those folks just can't wait until the 20th to submit because they're spending their own money to provide these meals. So she agreed. She thought that would be just fine to do that. So I just wanted to inform you. That's the plan there. Okay. Treasurer's report. Miss Virginia has sent us her document. We'll need a motion to approve when it's appropriate, gentlemen.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I went through it. I didn't see anything. It's a very hard document for me anyway because I really don't have anything to compare with, but it looks pretty normal. So I move that we approve the Treasurer's report for April 2020.
I agree with Jay. It looks good. I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the April 2020 Treasurer's report. Further discussion? I will go by today and sign that if this motion carries, gentlemen. I've got it in a PDF form and I can't convert that, so I'll just go by and sign the original. Further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Motion carries. Her report has been approved. That's all I have for staff reports, gentlemen, unless you have something else.
I have nothing.
Okay.
No,
All right, good. Any unfinished business that you're aware of?
Not for me.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. We'll allow public comment under any action item prior to the commissioners voting. The first item is selecting a contractor for the landfill project. We obviously had the opportunity to review those 10 bids that were submitted. I would like to have some discussion prior to a motion if one comes before the group. So, if gentlemen, you have any insights or comments or questions about that? Yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion, but I'd rather have some discussion if that's all right with you guys. But we'll do whatever.
I'm fine with discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, certainly I wanted to publicly thank all the companies that did submit bids. I'm still amazed that we had that many bids strung out all over Colorado and Oklahoma. Feel good about that. But I've got some concerns, but I'm going to hold off on putting those out there until you gentlemen have an opportunity to speak. Commissioner Prince, anything?
No, I would like to have a discussion before we vote.
Yeah, okay. Commissioner Kanda, your thoughts, comments on the bids?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit before. We can discuss it, but there were some that were way out of whack that we ought to be able to eliminate, meaning that they were extra high in my view. Actually, all of them possibly are, well, they all are high, given what we gave them to do. And I know we discussed maybe there's another way to skin the cat, but to me, there's about 3 of them that fall within range that would be reasonable. And I tend to agree with what Jay has said before, and that's I always look at the preference points for county business, and there's several out there. There's a couple of them local that are about in the same category, so they're not too far. Not a lot of difference in price, although to us, a couple $1,000 is a lot of money. So that's sort of a starting point. And I know we've talked about maybe renting a machine as an option as well. Finding an operator with another option. So why don't we take it from there, and let's hear Jay's comments.
Thanks. I do. I reached out to a friend of mine who was not a bidder and asked him if he would just give me some insight, because, as I mentioned before, this is not a forte of mine, and a lot of this stuff I don't really understand as well, so I was asking for some guidance. And he came back and said the machine rents for about $11,000 a week, plus there's a $2,000 hauling fee to get the equipment to the landfill. It's coming from the, and it drinks about 150 gallons of fuel a day. And let's see, you pay an additional approximate $5,000 a month for insurance. And then he said, at a $68,000 bid, that's only $3 per yard of material moved, and he thinks that's relatively inexpensive. So his comment to me was that he felt that, and who I was talking with was Greg Beltry, who is a contractor type who does this kind of land work, so I just want to let you know it's no secret. I asked him for some input, and this is what he said to me. So he felt that the bids that we received probably are not ridiculously out of line. The lower ones, I'm not talking about the $179,000 one, the $55,000 to $68,000 ones, the 4 least that's most have much more experience in this than I do. So that's kind of my comments.
Okay. I'm getting a little feedback. Sounds like wind or something, but yeah, I guess I would start by saying on the average it's $3.15, 20 cents a cubic yard, probably not out of the norm. My concern is this: can we afford it? And that's where I'm hung up. I know that probably some of these contractors are going to say, hey, if you can't afford it, why in the world did you even bother putting out an RFP? Well, I had no idea what the RFPs were going to come in at. I don't think any of us did. But I just don't think we can afford to do this right now. We need to do it, but I don't think at the low end, 68,000 to say 75,000, somewhere in there. I just don't think we have the money. Certainly, we don't have the money budgeted, and we just expended some dollars out of capital improvement for engineering on the new landfill. So I'm not as worked up about the dollar amount. I think those bids were probably fair. I just don't think we can afford to spend the money. So, gentlemen, I'm going to go out on the limb, and I'm just going to move to reject all the bids due to the unaffordability.
Let's talk a little more. Well, you got a motion, though?
Yeah. We have a motion. Is there a second? Is there a second to the motion? Hearing none, the motion dies.
Wait.
Further discussion?
Yeah.
The chairman.
Go ahead, Jay.
I apologize. I did second it. Unfortunately, my mute button was on because I wasn't sure if I had feedback or not. So
Okay.
I ask, please.
I'll make my motion again that I would move we reject all the bids due to the unaffordability on the county's part. Is there a second?
I seconded, and the comment I made when I seconded while I was muted was I'm doing this so that we can have this discussion. So that's the reason I'm doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The move is moved and seconded to reject all bids due to the unaffordability on the county's behalf. Further discussion.
Okay. Just go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead.
You start.
Commissioner Kanda?
All right. First of all, I agree. If we didn't think we had the money, we probably shouldn't have put it out there. However, if we look at the past, with when Rusty was here and as an operator, we rented these machines for around $30,000 for the month, and then paid his wages. And then I'm not sure what we did about the insurance on that, but it was around. I think by the end of the time that it took, sometimes 6 weeks to do a project. So it would be in the ballpark. So I think the low end here, these, as we've discussed already, are reasonable. So perhaps rather than rejecting them, maybe we ought to be tabling it and do a quick look at our budget. I know that in talking with Donna on other things, the capital improvement fund appears to have some money that we could reprioritize in it, as we've done before, and I understand we've done them recently. So maybe it deserves a quick look before we lose this. Now, timing-wise, just so the public doesn't get concerned, we've got time to reassess this, because the trench we have today, I think, what do we have, a rough estimate around 3 years before we're in trouble? Or was that with this new trench? Remember?
The 3 years does not hold on the existing trench, no.
I think it was
less than that.
Yeah. So whatever it is, that's the time frame we got to do it. So if we don't have the money now, Tom, where are we going to find it between now and when we need to dig it is the question, and we're going to have to reprioritize something possibly in this budget year. So maybe we ought to look at that in earnest before we, unless we throw this out now and then reassess establish another motion to go look at it. Just some questions. Jay, go ahead.
Bill, I think you're pointing it right on track. My concern was if we don't have money today, what's going to be different in a month or 6 months, unless we prioritize where our money goes and do some budget adjustments if we need to. This is not a luxury. This is a necessity. So I'm fine holding off until we can figure out where the money will. But I would hate to just reject all of the bids. I put them in a little spreadsheet, and I sorted it by price, and the 4 lowest ones were 68,000, 59,000, 56, and 55 roughly. I would agree to reject all the ones higher than the 68,000. And that way we have 4 to choose from. We'll reduce it back down. But Bill, I think you're right on target. We need to figure out where the money's coming from, and I would hate for this to all of a sudden become a crisis because we hadn't planned ahead. So I'm with you, Bill.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would add to that, I have the same spreadsheet, but I would have added a local contractor, which was around 70,000, just to keep it in the consideration only. Not that depends on how we judge, how we weight the scores, and we don't want to throw somebody out that we may.
And I would agree with that, but one of the 4 that is the 4 lowest is a Westcliff contractor.
Yeah, I agree. I see that. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just a thought. I mean, I don't want to get into a crisis situation, so just totally rejecting is a concern to me.
I agree. I look and see what money we can prioritize and how much that adds up to, because that certainly will limit the contractor that we choose.
Right. And, just based on, the information that I've received, it sounds like the 3 or 4 lowest bids may not be all that out of line. Maybe we just got a great deal because we had the landfill director was able to do the majority of the work under his regular salary. And that's not the case now, and that's fine. I think we just need to prioritize it and do it right.
Okay.
Pass the bucket.
Yeah, again, I want to emphasize, I'm not saying the bids were out of line. That was not any part of my discussion or part of the motion. It was about affordability only, or the lack thereof. I certainly hear and understand what both of you are saying. Just a couple points of clarification. It was not 30,000, it was 20,000 that we had historically rented the scraper, and it wasn't 6 weeks. We rented it for 4 weeks. So that's the last 2 years. Those figures were the same. So
right, I understand that.
Further discussion?
Yeah, I do have a comment, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Can we look into and see if maybe he has a desire to do this? Put him on the spot, but maybe we can do it like we did it before and just pay Rusty a fee to do this for us, since he's no longer the landfill director, and come in at a lower number than what the lowest bid is.
I'm not sure we can legally do that, though. It's still a bid. You'd have to ask. That'd be my impression, that now we're competing with local contractors, county.
Well, I think if we rejected all the bids and we came up with an alternative on our own, I would defer to council to tell us whether that is legal and appropriate. But I think it's our duty to do this as honestly as we can with the best job that we can, and
Yeah.
we can do it partially in-house, actually with a contract operator.
Yeah,
And
you
it
could
may
compete
save us
the
a bunch
operator.
of money.
Yeah, you could compete the operator.
My opinion on the whole thing, I think that started out was the conversation was, should we continue to try to rent a piece of equipment and do it ourselves, or should we see what it would cost to have somebody else do it? My opinion is, because we put out an RFP, we are under no obligation to select one of those. We have the right to reject any or all bids for whatever reason. We really don't even have to give a reason. But so I think just because we've gone through the process doesn't mean that we're morally or legally obligated to let this let a bid or award a contract to any of the bidders. Again, I just come back to the affordability thing. So I'm not discounting the fairness of any of the bids we received.
I think we all agree with that, Tom. What we're concerned about is we have to do it sooner or later. Now, what's going to be different, like we said before, in 3 or 4 months from now, we still have a budget problem, which I think we need to look at, because we can remove buying a truck if that was something in the future, as opposed to keeping it in the budget and not doing this. I mean, this is a high priority. So I think we need to look at it. And so if we want to just throw it out right now, we can throw them all out and then go and have a motion to go study it and make a budget that we can afford and put that in. You can always put that in an RFP, not to exceed a number, and let them bid on it again. That we could actually pay. Just a thought.
Further discussion? Public comment?
Yeah, Tom, this is Jackie. It seems to me like if you guys wanted to rent the equipment like you have every other year, you'd still need to put out to bid the operator, and Rusty could bid on that. Just seems like that would be the right thing to do.
Further public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on the motion, which is to reject all bids due to the affordability on behalf of the county. We'll proceed to vote. Commissioner Prince?
I vote aye.
Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
And Commissioner Flower votes aye. The motion carries. We will reject all bids. Ms. Kara, are you still on?
I am.
By consent, gentlemen, I would like to direct Ms. Kara to notify all of the, they're not necessarily contractors, we'll call them that. They might be, but they might not be. But all of the bidders, if you would contact them electronically, or how I would leave that up to you, to tell them that we have rejected all the bids due to the unaffordability on behalf of the county, and thank them for their time and effort for submitting those bids.
All right. I will do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. All right. We will go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I would like to suggest that we put this back on the agenda very soon, maybe, what's the next one, the 20th, I think, so that we could start talking about how we're going to get this done. I don't want to just reject the bids and then just let it go. We need to come up with a solution to this.
I agree. Let's have an agenda item to consider looking at the budget to figure out what we're going to do.
Ms. Kelly, can you add that to the May 20 agenda?
I will.
Why don't we word that consideration of just the landfill trench project, period. And then if a motion comes out, we would be legal to deal with a motion. If we put discussion of, we probably, we need to have the word consideration in there so we can make a motion if that's what happens.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Consideration of a letter from the hospital district. Gentlemen, you should have a copy of that in your possession.
I do.
By consent, I would like to turn the meeting over to Mr. Tobin. He sat patiently and waited. So, Mr. Bob, you have the floor.
Well, we received information from you all asking for more details, and I believe that the letter that you're in possession of provides those details. So what we're looking for is whether or not there's a cooperative way to move ahead, and if so, how.
Okay. We had a question at our last meeting. We posed that to Mr. Tom, and he was not comfortable with giving us an answer. I will re-ask that question. Who is your attorney or attorneys that would be handling this type of stuff?
That's in the letters you've received. That would be Ireland and Stapleton. Our attorneys, and Dino Ross is the individual who is supposed to be their expert on inclusions.
Okay.
Do you have that in your...
Boy, if it is, I missed it somewhere, sir.
What did this
I
come
think
yesterday?
Oh, well then I'm looking for a letter. I'm looking at a letter dated April 5th. Pardon me?
All right. I was going to suggest that too, Tom. What I got April 15, 2020. Is that the one we're talking about?
That is the one we're talking about from Tom originally, and then we did send an updated version answering those questions yesterday.
Oh, well, hold on just a second then. Let me check. Was that via email?
Yes, it was.
Who was it from, Bob?
Myself.
I'm not going to make a rash statement, but I don't believe I received it. Let me look.
Tom?
Go ahead.
Look around yesterday about noontime.
Okay. I just did a search, and I haven't found it there, so hold on just a second. Commissioners, are you in possession of the letter Bob's talking about?
No, I don't see anything in my inbox around noon. Intergovernmental affairs.
I'll forward
Kelly,
it.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I'll forward it to you guys.
Huh, okay. Commissioner Prince, did you get an updated letter? Commissioner Prince?
Sorry, I was on mute. I do have it, but I didn't get it through an email. Ms. Kelly yesterday handed it to me, printed form that Mr. Tobin asked her to give to me. So I have it, but I did not see it as an email either, sir.
Okay. So we'll just give Kelly a second to email that to us, so we're talking about the same document. My apologies, Mr. Tobin.
That's quite all right.
This is Tom Shepard. I had given the copy to Kelly yesterday around noon, and I thought I had also sent an email to her with the photographs of the documents that I had received from Mr. Tobin. I thought those were going to go on. It may have been too late in the process for her to have done that yesterday.
Yes, it would have been, unless it was prior to 9 o'clock. But, well, we were on the agenda anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. So the intent, Tom, was you gave, pardon me?
I'm sorry, Tom. I just said we all did not get the email, so we just get okay.
So, Mr. Shepard, so you gave that to Kelly. I'm just a little confused about the process. You wanted her to forward those on to us?
That's correct.
Or you wanted her to include them in the board packet, or what was the intent? I'm just a little confused.
I I don't know if it was going to be forwarding the email or including in the packet for today, but it was forwarded to you guys.
And and Tom, that was probably my misunderstanding. Tom had caught me when I was headed out to that meeting and said that he had sent out an email, and I thought he had sent it to all the commissioners, and then he asked me to give that hard copy to Jay.
Okay. So just as an aside, Kelly, would that should have gone to our administrative assistant? Because you're doing the agenda, correct? Is she going to continue to do the board packets? We haven't really had that discussion.
No, we need to have that discussion.
Okay, we can do that offline. No big deal. Okay. Did you send out, Kelly, did you forward that email to us?
I did. I sent it a few minutes ago, so you should have it.
Okay.
Kelly, this is Clint. Did you send it to me too?
No, I forgot about you, Clint. I'll send it right now.
Would there be an apology connected to that, Kelly, or
a what?
An apology. How can you forget, Clint?
He's back to the potted plant thing.
I'm going to
that's a good point.
And the apology is probably more properly mine. I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, I have not received an incoming email yet. Again, you know, I'm assuming we're all operating from our homes, and so that carries with it a certain liability when it comes to email capability. At least it does in my house. Okay, good, Bill.
I received Kelly's email.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'm impatiently waiting, but it's loading now. Thank you. Okay, Bob, if you don't mind, sir, if you can give us just a second. I'm trying to look at these documents. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, we're concerned.
Let me
Go ahead, sir.
An obvious question. Some of this is fairly detailed, and obviously you're going to want to look at it and then, perhaps ask questions. Is it appropriate to try to do that now? Do you want to put this off for a day, or is there another meeting time where we could convene?
Right, yeah. I'm just still trying to figure out what Kelly just sent me. So was there another letter in there? I was expecting a new letter, and I see the April 15th letter, which obviously we have that. There were just other documents, not another letter. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and he's got a copy of the original letter.
Yes. Yes.
That letter is not.
So I see 3 pages from Ireland and then 3 other pages, and I'm trying to wade through those as we're talking.
All right. Well, let me.
Those are
the letter from Ireland is their outline of what they would do and their costs and a caution. The other 3 pages are from DOLA, and they are very detailed as to what the process would be and what they would expect to have happen in order to get this passed.
Okay.
As I said, it's complicated. Probably trying to read it right now may not be best use of your time.
Okay. All right. Point well taken. So let's go back to the April 15th letter then, if we may, and with respect to the fact that we just got these other documents. So the original ask, basically, if I get everything right, was that the clinic wanted to know if we'd pay for the attorney fees.
That is correct.
Okay.
And then Clint also asked, apparently, for a detailed listing of the procedures in order to get this done.
Okay.
And you've got that.
And then,
twice.
of course, okay, yep, it was an attachment to your original letter, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. And so my way of thinking, I mean, just as an effort to try to not so that we don't end up wasting your time and Chuck's time for you. Obviously, the big question is if you want
Tom, you're fading away. I can't hear you.
You're cutting out.
We didn't have to have much more to see, and I doubt
Tom.
I guess my question, Bob, is with all due respect to other things that I would be rude, we lost you, Tom, paying the attorney fees as an effort to
Tom. Hey, Tom.
Yep, I really want to ask, why would we be paying the attorney fees if you were about?
Hey, Tom, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
You lost everything. Could not hear anything.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
To me, I mean, without putting a lot of fluff on it, the real question is why would the attorney fees to have the hospital district put something on the ballot? The only answer I could come up with was so that we could say we're working cooperatively together.
Well, there's also a monetary concern, Tom.
Can I ask a question on that, please?
Go ahead, Bill.
The question I have, Bob, is in the estimated cost. It's a little confusing how you racked it up, but the total cost I see is like $60,000 plus $25,000 plus $8,000 plus $3,000. What is the total cost?
If you read his letter, what he says is, if it's not if there is no contention in terms of the inclusion, then it would be sort of a bare bones, let's get this done and so on, which would be in the 25,000 range. However, in terms of doing full disclosure, he is noting that if there is any contention, and this has to go to another level of, explanation or another round of whatever, then the costs obviously would go up.
So the total, what would be the then, Bob? He's estimating 25 plus 8 plus 3. Then what's the 60 have to do with it?
Well, that's if there's contentions among the electorate.
Okay.
If I can shed a little light on this, I read this carefully because I did have this copy last night, so I read it. What the attorney was trying to do was give different scenarios based upon how smoothly or how rocky this would go through. And the intention of the letter, the way I read it, was if there was no contention and people were not fighting this, $25,000 range was reasonable. And he cited a contentious, something very similar to this that was contentious, that ran in excess of $60,000. So the way I read it was the attorney was really just trying to give a realistic assessment of costs based upon factors that we don't know and whether this would be contested or not. That's the way I understood it.
Jay, that is my understanding also. And the question here is one of how we approach the electorate in East Custer County and whether or not they feel comfortable with doing this. Oh, great.
Tom, this is Clint. Can I ask you a question, please? Anybody hearing me?
Yes, I hear you, Clint.
Okay. Kind of wondering about Tom, whether we've lost Tom again. Tom Flower.
No, I'm here. I was on mute.
Okay.
I know we're getting a lot of background noise. I wanted to make sure it wasn't me. So.
Somebody is breathing into their phone. That's the noise. It's a rhythmic breathing sound.
Okay.
My question is, though, regardless of which way you proceed on this, including Eastern Custer County, would be the mill levy, not just the mill levy of 3 for ambulance service, but also the 4.9 for the hospital services, medical services. Is that correct?
That is correct. We've told we cannot separate them.
Well, that was my understanding, too. I just wanted to be sure. So you're trying to bring them in where they would be paying for services that my understanding is they don't really want in that area of the county. That's just my comment.
Okay, thank you. And this whole process, Bob, are you thinking that this goes to a vote of the county or a vote of the people in East Custer County?
Well, as you read the details there, they talk about making sure that the East Custer County ratepayers are 100% behind this and the steps to take to make sure that that happens. So in answer to your question, as I understand it, it would be East Custer County who must approve this.
Not the rest of the county.
Tom, you're breaking up again.
Yeah, Tom, this is Clint. I've reviewed the statute. It would be the area that they are asking to include within the bond, expanding the boundaries of the hospital district to include this area. It's just the residents in that area that would be voting on this, not the entire county.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got a question. I cannot read the documents that Kelly just sent to us. They're in HTML format. I can enlarge them. My question is this. The attachments that were on your original letter, Bob, are those the same documents that Kelly just sent to us, or are those different?
I don't recall any attachments on the original letter. The April 15 letter?
Yeah, there was 3 pages of legalese. Chapter 6 boundary issues was my first page.
Yeah, that is the new information, which unfortunately I guess is not as visible to you as we'd like. Puts that in better perspective in terms of being legible and hopefully understandable.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to read those attached documents. I certainly didn't look up all the citations by any means, but I'm just asking if the stuff that Kelly just sent us is different than what the documents that came with the April 15th letter.
Yeah, I think I would say that they should be viewed as more clarifying. It's the same information, but then the law is the same. It's just who decides to write it and separate it. So.
Okay. I kind of agree with Attorney Smith. The folks that I have talked to in Wetmore have very clearly said they will not vote to join the hospital district because they don't believe that they would utilize the West Custer County clinic to the degree that they could justify that mill levy. They would support a mill levy, is what I have been told by those folks that I've talked to in Wetmore. They would support a mill levy for ambulance service. That's what they want. They're not interested in joining the district. That's what I've been told.
All right. Tom,
So I don't want to spend. Sorry, I was going to say I don't want to spend $60,000 asking them for something that they've already been pretty adamant about indicating what their answer is. That's where I'm at.
Okay. The way this process is outlined, it's to try to give full disclosure and give all parties the ability to state their case. Now, does that mean that the people who say right now they have no interest in being part of the hospital district? I can understand that, and I appreciate that. However, the law is pretty clear. We can't separate the two mills. It's one package.
Okay.
If they want to turn down the one package, then I think that's something that at least ought to go through a couple of the hurdles, as opposed to making a decision based on, well, the people I've talked to have said this, and therefore.
Okay. Is the clinic willing to risk $60,000 on an election?
Absolutely not.
No. So I believe that gives us the right to say, based on what we've heard, I'm not real comfortable spending $60,000 on it either.
Well, it's not $60,000. It's $25,000 unless there are a significant number of people who choose to say, no, we're not going to vote for this one way or the other. Now, anecdotally, I'm hearing you say that the people that you've talked to feel that way. The question is, what about the rest of the people in the district? How do they feel?
In the district or in East Custer County?
East Custer County.
Okay, not because the district doesn't get to vote on this, right? The way it's.
That is correct, Tom. They do not.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean that's right. You're exactly right. I'm speaking anecdotally, but I'm not willing to risk 25, 28, 33, or 60,000 unless we think it's prudent and reasonable. And I'm just throwing this out as an idea that maybe we have a couple of town hall meetings in Wetmore so that we don't have to deal with anecdotally. We can ask them straight up what they want to do.
I think that would be prudent. And the way that's laid out in the documentation, which you haven't been able to take a look at yet, is there is a process for that before the town hall meeting, and it's a communication via mail stating what the meeting will be about, asking people to let us know if they intend to come to the meeting, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, I don't think we need to pay an attorney to facilitate that. Go ahead, Commissioner Kenda.
Now, Bob, want to clarify this. I know what we're trying to do is to have a ambulance service in all of Custer County. And it would seem to me that even the people in the hospital district want an ambulance service within the hospital district. I would think they would also want it in the hardscrabble where it isn't covered currently as well. So I would think it depends on how you put the issue on the ballot. If it's just asking the citizens of the entire county to understand that the ambulance service is what we're voting on, that would, it's covered within the current hospital district budget. And what we're asking for is the remainder of the county to add, be willing to pay whatever it is for the ambulance service to cover areas where it's not currently covered. Is that how this would be put together?
Comment, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Thank you. I think your point is interesting, and I'll tell you why I have a little problem with asking the entire county, because the population of all the area that is currently covered would swamp the people in East Custer County who may, by a wide majority, say no, but if the entire county voted, the amount of votes may well overrun the East Custer County folks, and it would pass, and even though
Right, I understand.
East Coast guy don't want it. So I'm a little concerned about that. My suggestion.
Let me finish the thought, Jay. You made a good point. Let me just finish that thought. My concern is if the citizens in the hospital district are going to be, is the ambulance not going to run down into the hardscrabble if it's voted down by the citizens in the east part of the county? Is my concern. Or is it going to continue to run? Either then, if that's the case, then the Wetmore guys, doesn't matter what they vote, they're going to get the ambulance service.
Let me comment on that for a minute. First of all, I absolutely commend the hospital district. They have, without a single delay that I'm aware of, not handled anything on hardscrabble in the eastern Custer County, and they've done that out of their own pocketbook. Now, I recognize it's very few runs, but the bottom line is no one has suffered to this point that I am aware of, except at the very, very beginning when we hashed this out. But since then, the hospital district stepped up and said, we are going to cover the entire county until we get this resolved. So I think it's not like we're losing anything if we say, let's delay this a little bit. And my thought would be, town hall meetings are wonderful. I would love to see a mail-out survey so that the folks who really can't get out, go to town hall meetings or whatever, have an opportunity to say, yes, I'm in favor of it, or no, I'm not. And I think that just to clarify, to make sure that we're all on the same page, the attorneys from Denver, their estimate on the cost was, if there is no contest, if it just runs real smoothly, a single vote, and boom, we're done, you figure $25,000. However, if people are saying, no, we don't want to do it, and we have challenges to it, and they have to do more legal work, that's when it can run up to, the $60,000 number or higher. So I think what we need to do is we need to before we pay any money to an attorney, I think we need to do our due diligence and find out, in fact, is the eastern portion of Custer County willing to pay the full mill levy for hospital and ambulance service, or are they not? And if they come back to us and say they're not, then we, the hospital district and the county, need to put our heads together and come up with what is going to be the solution. And of course, we all agree the one solution that is not acceptable is no ambulance service in East Custer County. So that's my comment. I think we ought to do a survey. Once we get the survey back, then we can go ahead and start working on some town hall meetings. Or maybe we can do it in conjunction with it. But we need to get the input from those folks before we spend any money with an attorney. That's my opinion.
And I would agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. Yeah, I certainly want to acknowledge and thank the clinic. They're doing exactly what we asked, right? I'm not trying to just ignore the fact that the clinic is trying to move forward with something. This is a possible solution, right? I mean, I don't think the clinic thinks this is an end-all deal, but we asked, hey, let's look into this and see what we can do. I think that the Wetmore citizens are concerned and aware enough of this problem that I think they would respond to us reaching out to them and saying, hey, let's get together and have a conversation about this. I could be wrong, but that's my belief from those folks down there. Again, we've already established that this election or this ballot would be directed towards the people outside of the hospital district. So the citizens in the district wouldn't have anything to say about this. Is that correct, Mr. Tobin, as it's presented?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to kind of revisit that a little. Because I agree with Jay. I mean, if you ask the whole county to vote on it, Wetmore, they're going to get overwhelmed by numbers, most likely. So that's pretty evident to me. But so, Mr. Tubman, what would you prefer us to do from this day forward? I know you've been on the phone here for 2 hours, so I apologize.
And it's been fun. Yeah, I think I think the thing we need to do is, as Jay has proposed, to develop a written communique outlining, the situation as it is, which is at the present time you're getting ambulance service and nobody's paying for it, which at some point is not going to sit well with the people who are paying for it. So the bottom line here is, and as you recall, we had that meeting at the clinic. I presented a list of alternatives to resolve this. Certainly volunteer payment is one, but we're told that has legal hurdles. Trying to get a reasonable payment available so that East Custer County could affiliate with proximate ambulance services is another. But so far, we have not had much reception from any of the volunteer services in that vicinity.
Okay.
So getting concretely decent numbers by way of a survey is the only answer that really works.
Okay, good. I have a quick question for you, and please don't take this as a challenge, but eventually we're going to have to be unequivocally able to say we can or can't do things. Would your attorneys give us the citation that the statutes don't allow separating those two mill levies?
I think Kelly Camper gave that to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I remember a discussion about that.
That's correct, Tom, and Clint spoke on that too. That you can't. It's one mill levy, and you can't separate that out.
Okay. So when we go before the Wetmore citizens, I'm just thinking we need to be able to cite that revised statute to tell them this is why you cannot do that. That's all I'm asking. So, Bob, would you be comfortable with the commissioners moving forward to draft up a document to follow with that we could follow when we ask the people to convene outside of the hospital district, pose some questions to them, and move forward in that vein?
If that was done jointly with the hospital district, I'd say absolutely.
Okay. And then I would also think the district would be interested in attending those meetings as well.
Well, actually, the way we had viewed it is that we would set up those meetings and we would do the mailings ourselves jointly with you, and then it would be up to the citizens, the commissioners, and the hospital district to attend those meetings to answer any and all questions.
Okay, excellent. Gentlemen, you have a comment about that procedure?
I think that's a good idea.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So,
if you'd like to, memorialize that in a letter to us, that would be great. That would be helpful, and it would get all of our people working in the right direction with your folks.
And we might include some contact people down there, unless you guys already have that and know that we could ask them, hey, what's the best way to get the word out? And they don't read the newspaper down there. That's what they all tell me. So we gotta do something.
No, this by law, looking forward to the time when we actually can do this, perhaps as an inclusion, or at the very least, a community purpose effort. we would need to have postal communiques and a response to that inquiry. So we're already aware as to how that would work most efficiently, and we'd be pleased to take it on to do it.
Okay. Very good. I think that makes a lot of sense to me that we do some groundwork before we start expending large numbers of dollars on attorney fees. And then we just go from there. That's the way I feel about it. So if you're good with that, Mr. Tobin, I certainly think that's a great plan. Commissioners, I think, have indicated you agree as well. So,
and we look forward to receiving a letter from you to that extent.
Okay. I'm guessing, gentlemen, I'm speaking to the commissioners, we can draft that letter and take action on it on the 20th. Mr. Tobin, is that too late?
No, we'll be starting anyway, but it would be a great comfort to us to know that this was a collective effort, a joint effort.
Right, okay. And is the idea still that we're looking November 2020? We're about it.
I wish I had an answer to that. Clint, do you have an answer to that? And there's also one other situation that we haven't been able to get an answer to, which is the legal ramifications at Tabor. Is that in any way affected?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well,
the county debriefs, but I don't know about the hospital district.
I'm sorry, Clint?
The county is not subject to Taylor. We filed something that got the county out of that, but I'm not sure about the hospital district.
Yeah, I've received one response on that count telling me that Tabor is not anything that we have to worry about in this regard. But obviously, I'd like to get that clarified. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, gentlemen, on this item on the agenda? Mr. Tobin, Mr. Shepard, thank you for your time and patience this morning. Does not go without notice that you were willing to sit here and wait to participate. So I don't want to cut you off by any means.
No problem. Thank you very much.
All right. You bet. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We will be in touch, as they say. Gentlemen, any further items of business?
Tom?
Yes, Kelly.
So how are we putting that on the 20th agenda?
Consideration of a letter to the clinic concerning Wetmore Town Hall meetings or surveys. I would think for brevity we'd just say consideration of letter to the clinic pertaining to East Custer County Ambulance.
Okay.
We feel a bit more comfortable. We feel more comfortable if that was the hospital district. But
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We'll read it.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the old days coming out of me, just calling it the clinic. So yeah, West Custer County Hospital District. All right, Bob. Thank you a million. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
On that item.
Clint, you okay? Any additional items?
We have some more agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh darn it. Yes, we do. I'm trying to get to the adjournment part of this meeting. My apology. Consideration of selecting a contractor for the Justice Center project. Gentlemen, do you have the documentation from the company that sent in the bid?
I do. Is that Piper Sandler? Is that the only one we received?
Piper Sandler and Brits, yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Then yes, I have it in front of me.
Okay. What's the group's pleasure?
Tom, I think formally we should read this, at least the dollar amount of the bid first.
Okay. I'm making an effort to pull mine up.
I've got it
There
here.
we go.
To do it.
Yeah. So that's fine. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So in response to the RFP for the Justice Center, requesting proposals to inform and assess public response for funding the construction of a Justice Center, we got one response from Piper Sandler and Company, dated April 10, 2020. It's a 37-page, very detailed response, and it's actually not just on behalf of Piper Sandler, but also the Brits Company, because there are two separate components to this, and Piper Sandler can only do one of them. But just to summarize, the bid from Piper Sandler was $15,000 for a voter survey and another $15,000 for a consulting fee, and that would be for the two companies, Piper Sandler and the Brits Company.
Correct. Yes. Thank you. Okay. And just as a note, gentlemen, obviously we have received a grant from the underfunded courts that was designed towards this type of activity. Discussion about that before we make a formal motion, gentlemen?
I have a comment I'd like to make, if I may, please.
You go right ahead.
Why, thank you. I would like for the audience and the public to understand that the purpose of this proposed $30,000 expenditure is to assist the county in determining how it would be able to fund the new Justice Center, and their assistance would be to figure out how to do that.
That's correct. Yep, good point.
I just wanted to make sure I understood what we're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Well, I know you guys get tired of hearing this. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for discussion purposes, why don't I move that we approve the expenditure of total of $30,000 to Piper Sandler and Brits, I believe it was, based on their proposal.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the bid submitted by Piper Sandler on behalf of Piper Sandler and Brits, not to exceed $30,000 to evaluate the viability of funding and financing a Justice Center. Further discussion? Gentlemen, I've got a concern, and I want to run it by you. I have continued. Sorry, can you hear me all right?
I can now.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm trying to switch from earphones back to my telephone because the battery's running down on them. It's all about timing is my concern. I don't know how long I was going to contact courts and see how long we had to expend this money. I was not able to get a hold of anybody. Man, I'm just worried about the timing here, coming off in the middle of this COVID thing. I believe personally that we're going to be a year or two in to get back to full recovery. Is this something we want to spend the money on now? If the underfunded courts say, yes, you have only a year to do this, then that, to me, pushes the envelope. If they would say, based on the COVID thing, we're going to extend that 6 months or another year or whatever, I would ask the question, would it be prudent for us to wait until we get this economic recovery engine going a little stronger. I'm worried right now, meaning in the next 6 or 8 months, people are not going to support this Justice Center. That's my concern. Because of the COVID-19.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's really a good point. While the Justice Center is a really important item for us, my heart tells me it is not an absolute necessity, and timing has changed significantly since we started this project. I would almost be in favor of just tabling the entire project until the economy and our way of life comes back to more normal. So I'm concerned about moving forward on what I consider somewhat of a luxury at this point.
Okay, this is Bill.
Go ahead.
I agree. However, there is a caveat. We'll see what the underfunded courts, et cetera. I know we were faced with, if we don't do something from a safety point of view, they're going to tell us to do it. That probably is going to be tabled also, I would hope. But lawbreakers still exist, and we got to be careful. So I don't know that we table it indefinitely, but I happen to agree that the timing's bad. We also have the town of Westcliff just passed their bond or their tax increase by 2 votes. So there's probably no stomach either for another addition, and so we probably do need to do it. But I still think that it's be careful that we don't just table it indefinitely, and how are we going to handle when and where. So I agree. We ought to move this table it for sure.
Yeah, I agree with Bill. I just think we ought to. Yeah, I agree with Bill, but I think we need to have the conversation with the underfunded courthouse folks to make sure that, and if they don't concur with us, we probably ought to take direction from them as to whether we proceed or not at this point.
There is a bigger picture, you're right.
Yeah, I agree. I have a meeting with underfunded courts tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon. I will broach this question with them, if that's all right with you gentlemen. With all due respect, Commissioner Prince, I heard and understood, I think, what you said, but I want to go on the record as saying I don't believe the Justice Center is a luxury for this county. I think it is an absolute necessity, but I still maintain that we got to be prudent about the timing, and I just don't believe the timing is appropriate to let this bid or award this contract out to the bid. Again, we asked for it, we got it. It was before the COVID thing blew up on us, and I certainly would support tabling this. Or we could postpone it to a certain date, but I'd rather table it and leave that a little open.
I agree, and I was of the same mind, Tom. It is not a luxury. It's a necessity, and I think times have dictated that it'll probably we'll be allowed to slip that given the conditions, and I appreciate you looking at it tomorrow with the underfunded guys, and then maybe that'll come back to the next meeting and let us know when to consider it again if there's some insight that they got for us.
Thank you. Yeah, I certainly will have that conversation with them if it's appropriate. If not, then I'll follow up and have it after the meeting. But yeah, I think if they'll give us some time, an extension on some time, then we can kind of ride that raft down the river a little bit and see how things play out in the next 2 or 3 months. I don't want to do that and then turn around and say, gosh, we got to spend this money in the next 30 days and we're in trouble. So, I'm going to move that we table awarding contract pending a further conversation with the underfunded courts.
Mr. Chair, we have a motion on the floor. Maybe we should let that die.
I'm sorry.
I was going to bring that up. Thanks.
You're exactly right. So further discussion on awarding the contract to Piper Sandler. Any further discussion about that? Public comment?
Tom, this is Elliot from the Tribune. I just wanted to make sure I understood what the terms of the contract were. I got that in my notes that there was you were splitting it, and there's a $15,000 consultant's fee. And what's the other $15,000 for?
Conduct a community survey to determine the possibility of financing the Justice Center.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Tom, it's a public document now. If anybody wants it, I think they could get it through Kelly.
Okay, yeah, maybe it depends on what we do. I mean, depends on the outcome of the vote, I guess. We could certainly put it on the website, too, so people could look at it. But further public comment?
So, what's the motion, Tom? It's to accept it, I think is what you said.
The motion is to award the contract to Piper Sandler. That is correct.
Right, and if we vote that down, then that we won't award it. But we do need to follow that up probably with another motion to table it or to consider it later. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Commissioner Canada. That if we vote this down, then we have to tell these folks that we've done something, and I hope that something would be table it until we get some further information.
That's right. Just want to make sure it's clear with people that are listening. Good.
Okay. We'll proceed to vote on awarding the contract to Piper Sandler on behalf of Piper Sandler and Brits, not to exceed $30,000. All in favor, say aye. Mr. Prince?
Nay.
Commissioner Kanda?
Nay.
And Commissioner Flower votes nay. Motion fails. We will not award this to Piper Sandler. I would like to give some direction to Ms. Kara, but I would prefer to wait until we see how this plays out. So I would introduce the motion then to the group that we table this item of business until we get further direction from the underfunded courts. It's actually the underfunded
Are you moving that, Tom?
Pardon me?
Are you making that a motion, or are you asking for that motion?
No, I did make that I introduced that motion, yes.
Okay, good. I got it, so I'll second it.
The moved and seconded to table the center funding project until we get some further direction from the Underfunded Court Security Commission. Discussion about that? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Motion carries. We will table this until we get further information from the underfunded courts. Okay. So, Ms. Kara, could you reach out to, let me give you his name, because he's about to wear me out. Nate Eckloff. He's a signature line on the original bid. And I think you could do that electronically and advise them that we have tabled this pending further information from the Underfunded Court Security Commission.
Okay.
That we did not reject their bid, we just moved to table this discussion.
Okay. Okay.
work on that language a little if you need to later offline.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, you all in agreement with that?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me get back so I don't make a fool out of myself. Any other items of business?
A clarification, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Tobin asked about a letter. I just want to make sure that we're not looking at each other going, who wrote that or who's going to.
Okay.
Could we determine who will handle that task?
That's a great point. I would ask for either of you gentlemen to take that on if you want. If not, I will do that, but I'd prefer someone else.
Well, let's run it by all three of us. Jay, why don't you take a stab at the outline on it? Let's see what we got.
Okay. I'm not real good at outlines. Why don't I just write something and then we could wordsmith it?
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's okay.
To me, you bet. I do have another item of business I want to discuss. It's not on the agenda, so I don't think I would entertain a motion. And Jay, I would defer to you to talk about the RFP for the HVAC unit.
I'll be happy to. Our plan was to have a draft for us to review. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the specifications from the unit that we're going to replace sufficiently to actually write the RFP. So we're going to get that information, and I will have an RFP certainly by the 20th, and hopefully I'll have a draft to send out so that we can discuss it on the 20th that you can look at.
Okay. A couple things then, Jay, to follow up. One, for the record, Ivan Mars did just what we asked him to do, was to provide us with the documentation from that unit physically. He did that in a timely manner. I think we're going to have to get some additional information to do a good job of writing this RFP. And secondly, Kelly, then would you put it on the agenda, consideration of the RFP for the rooftop unit at the county building?
Yes, I already have it on there.
All right, perfect. So, Jay, thank you for your work that you've done. I want to thank Ivan. He crawled up there and took pictures. And I just think we need to get a little more detail before we make a stab at writing an RFP.
I agree, and thank you for that. But can I ask a question?
Sure.
Would it be appropriate to ask a local contractor who may also be a bidder on the project to give us the details on what it would take to, what kind of unit we need to replace it with, the tonnage and amperage and all the things that go into the bid? I'm not sure I'm comfortable knowing enough about this to write it on my own, the specifications on my own. The RFP problem.
Mr. Kanda, your opinion on that?
Well, usually what you can do is you can have a bidders conference and have them come in and take a look, and based on that, ask questions, and we can clarify them and write it in, and actually ask them to do. We can do that. It's a repair of an old system, and that's something to consider.
I think that's a wise approach. I think our benefit like that, Jay, it's going to speed the process up. I'm convinced that system's going to go down on us here one of these days, and I don't know why not. We have two contractors locally that I think would be interested in that project. I don't mind reaching out to both of them and setting up a conference where we could meet, look at it, and decide what we do. We don't have to talk about money. They can do that through a bid. But
that's exactly right. That's how you handle that. They can ask questions. They know what they've got. It's clear. They see it, and then they can come back to the bid.
Yeah. In the construction world, they call that a pre-construction conference, which I know that's what you're referring to. And I think you're right on point there. I would take the lead on that if you're willing, gentlemen, or I would defer to either one of you.
I'm multitasking.
I'm fine for you to do it. I appreciate that comment, Bill, because I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah, he asked you.
I had thought of it because I don't know this area, but
Yeah.
no, it's an excellent idea, and I really like that. I like keeping them
But it was
local.
okay, because they looked at
I'd
your
like them
report
both
and they
to
said
look at
it's
it,
all
and they
good,
can
so.
give us a bid, and we'll choose one of the two. Does that,
Do you want to call in?
Yeah, I
real quick?
sure think that's a sensible way to
If you
go
wanna
about it.
call
There's
in real
some
quick, I'll
governmental
talk
ways we can go about it, but it would cost us another 5 or 6 weeks, and I don't think we can afford that.
Okay.
now let's move forward, and Tom, I appreciate you want to contact those two contractors, and let's get this up and running. And I appreciate. I'm not trying to shirk my responsibility of the RFP. I just didn't feel we had the right information. So, Bill, I think your comment is right on point. Thanks.
Yeah, and by consent, gentlemen, then would you agree if I just indicated to them, hey, let's look at it, let's have this meeting, and then why don't each of you just write up a bid and send it to us?
I think that's great. Yep.
Mr. Kanda?
Yep, press on.
Okay. I think this is pretty straightforward. It's one unit, and I would probably say we need this unit or one comparable and let it go at that.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. This may circumvent then writing an entire RFP if they're going to submit bids. Jay, are you okay with that?
That's exactly the way it ought to be. Let them tell us what they're going to do, and we'll choose the one we feel is most appropriate.
Okay. So then I will have them submit a sealed bid back to Kara, and then Ms. Kara, if you will hold those until we get to the May 20 meeting at the earliest. They may not be ready by then, but at least that's what I'll present to them.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you bet. Anything else, gentlemen?
I'm good.
Negative here. I'm good.
Okay. Public comment? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
And Commissioner Flower votes aye. I think I heard Kanda vote aye.
You did. Aye.
Thank you, sir. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Clint.